Hey guys, welcome back here today on this Megadeth album review series. Before we jump into this one, I just want to say that I'm super pumped. I'm sure all of you have heard it, that Megadeth's album has announced a new album. What is sad is that it's supposed to be their last album. So we're going to have to cherish that whenever it comes out. That's for sure. I think in a couple months or something. And of course their final tour will be coming up, which I've never seen them live, so I'm gonna have to pull the trigger on it. I've come close to seeing them live, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to pull the trigger on seeing this legendary band. But I'm super excited for that album to come out, and it has potential, at least for me, to be album of the year, and probably the most hyped album for the year for me thus far, no doubt about it. So, but with that being said, though, we take it back to 2013 here with Super Collider. Have a cool album cover there. What's really cool though in the back is, which I never knew this until I purchased the CD. Vic Rattlehead, kind of a cyborg, almost Terminator kind of looking version of him, which is pretty cool. And this album, I'll go ahead and preface this by saying, like, this album is not one. I mean, I've only listened to this album one time before diving into it again here for this video, as it's one that I could say that I pretty much hated, was not a fan of, although there were a few on there I always have liked, which we'll get into. And jumping into this, we'll just kind of go along here and see if my opinion has changed on it. I know a lot of people definitely cannot stand this thing. So we opened up with Kingmaker, which I didn't remember this one really. This is not one that ever really stood out to me. But I think it's a pretty solid opener, actually. So going into this, I'm like, hey, track number one, I'm already getting some hope, because this is actually a pretty solid song. It's got a cool riff to it. Kind of sets a good just tone setter for the album, or what would be. I mean, this album kind of has a lot of different things going on, but you're thinking that it's like, okay, this is how the album's going to be, because it's a solid thrashy song that is good. Not an amazing track by any means. Kind of reminds you of Sleepwalkers a little bit, like a lesser version of that. But it is a good track, Kingmaker. Not one that is just I'm over the moon about, but a solid opener for sure. Then we go with track number two, which I remember not liking, the title track, Super Collider. But this time, I would actually say it's one of my favorite songs off here, believe it or not. And maybe that has something to do with it reminding me of a track. It kind of has a feel of something that would be off Risk, right? Kind of a more commercialized sounding chorus. A cool riff. I like the layering of the vocals and everything on this one. And I get why a lot of people wouldn't like this track, because most people don't really like Risk, but as y'all have seen in my review series here, I'm a pretty big fan of Risk, believe it or not, right? So, but this one, I'd say this is one of the better tracks off here, believe it or not. Probably like third or fourth favorite for me, for sure. Like this is definitely one that I'll be jamming out to more. I really like the feel of this one. Track number three, though, we get to my least favorite one off the whole album, where this is the stuff I remember not liking. Burn. It's like, burn, baby, burn. What are we doing here? This is like some, I don't know. It's just, it's corny. It's not, it's a pretty terrible song. And I was trying to kind of get into it with the riff a little bit. I'm just like, I cannot with that chorus. It's very, very strange. Don't really know what they were trying to do here with this one. So, you have three totally different kind of vibes, psalm-wise here, right off the bat. So the theming of this album's kind of a little bit all over the place. Then we go to track number four, which is another one I'm not the biggest fan of. I'll say I'm always a fan of some cool time changes and stuff, but this one, it's almost like they're abrupt and a little discombobulated. And this song, because it has like these, it almost sounds like the editing of it, like some of the parts where he's saying built for war, that they just snipped parts and just inserted it in there, and it doesn't naturally flow in. It's not really a very cohesive track, which can really be said about the album. It's not really like a unit, but yeah, Built for War, another one that I can't say I'm a big fan of. Then we go to track number 5. We're talking about Off the Edge. This one's all right, kind of near the bottom for me. Um, it just kind of a filler track for me. It does what it does. I don't think it's great or anything, but it's okay. You know, it's quite a bit better than Burn or Built for War. So, um, then we go with one of the probably my second favorite off here, or I'd say probably third favorite. We're going with Dance in the Rain, and this is actually a pretty damn good song. This one has David Draymond, of course, vocals from Disturbed on here, and mainly not a lot, but I mean near the end of the song is really all he's a part of. But he does, you know, the part he's a part of, kind of some backing vocal type deals is pretty cool, and it's kind of got like a spoken word kind of feel to it, which could be. I know they've done some stuff like that before, which kind of could be seen as something that maybe would be off of, you know, World Needs a Hero, except I think that does it way worse than anything. But this song is actually pretty damn good. I like the riff in this one. And I kind of like the story it's telling, you know, talking about all, like, you know, the systematic collapse of, you know, society, Big Brother, you know, 1984 stuff that they talk about a lot. But Dance in the Rain is always one that I've really liked off here, actually. Let me go with track number 7 with Beginning of Sorrow. This one's all right. I'll say, like, the main chorus is hooky. That main, you know, Beginning of Sorrow line. It's pretty hooky and everything, but there's just not a lot here for this album to really, or I mean, for this song to really jump at you and latch onto you. I mean, it kind of does that main Beginning of Sorrow, you know, it kind of does that a little bit, and then it doesn't really go too many places before it kind of ends. So then we go with track number 8, The Blackest Crow, which kind of has almost a little bit of a country feel, down south kind of feel to it, with some banjo and stuff, a little bit of slide guitar going on. And I actually really like this one. This is one of the better ones off here. It's pretty heavy. The riff is on top of the banjo playing and stuff, and I think it was kind of a cool little bit of an experiment the guys kind of did with this one. I don't think it's a great song, but I mean, it's pretty good, and I'm pretty sure this was one I despised, though, back when I first ever heard this album. I thought it was weird, and it is a strange choice, very experimental choice, but I think it kind of works here, and it definitely makes a standout song off of here. Then we go with track number 9, easily my favorite off here. We're talking about Forget to Remember. And this track has just got a cool feel to it, a very powerful feel about it. Awesome riff, awesome chorus, hookiness going on. This is actually a great song. I mean, if there's any one track to come back to off here, it would be this one. And it's got kind of a deeper, story behind it, talking about Alzheimer's and things like that. And it's a very, a really powerful song, very awesome riff again on this one, and Forget to Remember has definitely always been my favorite off here as well. Even the first time I heard this album, I was like, all right, that's a damn good song. Then we go with track number 10, Don't Turn Your Back, which is solid, kind of a quick little speedy track, kind of like Kingmaker as far as just kind of getting to the point, doing its thing, and then dipping, right? Not really the biggest, not really a lot to go off of there, but it's a solid track nonetheless. I would almost call it a filler track, but it's okay, because even the filler tracks are better than some of this other weird shit on here, like Burn and Built for War. But then lastly, we close with track number 11 with an awesome cover, which I've always loved off here. Of course, Cold Sweat, cover of the classic Thin Lizzy song. Very, very cool. I think Dave's kind of gravelly voice at this time especially kind of fits this track, and I think it's a badass cover, and just really, really cool. And as far as ending the album, I mean, I think it's just fine to end it with this, because this album, as I said, it's kind of all over the place. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of different sounds. They're experimenting a lot on this one, which is why it gets a lot of the hate. But I started off saying I used to hate this album. I don't think it's absolute dog shit. All right, I think it's okay. There's some redeeming qualities on here. It's definitely not one of the ones I am like, oh, I want to listen to Megadeth, maybe even something kind of different from them out of the usual, this still probably wouldn't be one that I'm gonna go and grab, right? But there are some redeeming qualities like Dance in the Rain, Super Collider, built for not built for war, Forget to Remember, stuff like that. So there's some redeeming qualities here, but it's not a very cohesive unit of an album. It's really just discombobulated all over the place, kind of a scramble. And I think that's where the hate comes in, and that's where the hate came in from me when I originally hated it. But I tried going into it with an open mind, not trying to, let my old thoughts on this thing weigh this thing down. But still, I don't think it's a good album. I think it's all right. I'd give it like a 2 out of 5 if we're gonna put a rating on this thing, right? So, anyways, though, guys, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. It'd be very cool to see if anybody is actually a big fan of this album. I mean, who knows? And hey, I'm not judging if you are, because I like Risk, right? Like I said, and like you've seen in my reviews. So I'm not judging if there's any big fans of this one out there. That's cool. I want to hear all about it. What are some of your guys' favorite songs off here? Do you guys like that cover of Cold Sweat? Because I think it's pretty kick-ass. And, of course, next time we're talking about our second last of the albums until the new one comes out, right? We're going to be talking about Dystopia, the 2016 album. So stay tuned for that one, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks so much.